Amicus stands there awkwardly for a moment, then quickly moves over to the open door, placing a paw on the square to close it. He moves back over to me, his voice still lowered. Well, if we're going to pass you off as a pet, then I should probably get you familiar with your duties.
It's not just like looking cute and like eating out of a bowl.
Jesus Christ.
Well, I mean, that's all Kiki does, so like, it's, you know.
The learning process here is that none of the words mean what they first sound like they mean. Just like parent and child. Like, what is a pet exactly? My duties? I raise an eyebrow at Amicus. Amicus sighs. I understand your frustration, but we need to do this right if we want things to go as smoothly as possible. You don't have to do anything, but it will help you blend in better. I roll my eyes and lean back on my hands, looking up at Amicus. All right, what do I do? Well, first of all, I take my shower and you help me wash.
Oh.
Help you
okay.
wash?
This kind of pet, I get it. I've seen this before.
The spark of recognition.
Okay. Yes, master.
Yes, you would soap my fur and such. We stare at each other for a moment. It's something that the others wouldn't see, so I suppose it's not necessary unless you want to.
Unless you want to.
No. Well, all right then. Never mind on that one. Amicus is clearly offended. Listen, I'm not gonna soap up your naked body. Yeah, you made that clear.
Aww.
Anyway, I'd honestly rather skip the shower today, but spending all of that time in the spaceship has left me rather unkempt.
I mean, to be fair, he has a ton of fur, and I imagine it must take forever to shampoo that.
Yeah, and to dry off and everything. Do you think there's just an entire... I'm saying, do you think, as if I don't, like, I think I'm remembering there is. I think there might just be, like, a fucking, like, car washed style, like...
Dryer?
Like dryer.
There should be.
Amicus turns to the bathroom and opens the door. You should at least come into the bathroom while I shower in case Cassius decides to barge in again. You can stare at the wall or something. Amicus stalks into the bathroom and I have to smile as I follow him in, the door closing quietly behind me. Amicus notices me smirking. What? I shrug. Nothing, just kind of funny that you got so huffy. I don't know what that means. Amicus is adjusting his underwear, then it suddenly drops and I quickly look away.
No!
I suppose your people prefer modesty. Out of the corner of my eye, I can tell that Amicus has a smirk of his own. Around others, at least. And you guys don't just walk around naked, so don't you prefer modesty too? It all depends on the time and place. Amicus moves into the shower, and for the next 10 or so minutes I sit on the counter while the room fills with steam. Once the water shuts off, a loud fan starts up, and I glance over to see Amicus with his arms out, his fur blowing back and forth.
See, you did remember it.
He notices me look over then and look away again. You know... He has to almost shout over the fan. You could have cleaned up too if you'd showered with me, but you won't have time with breakfast coming up. You'll have to do it after. I shrug and wait as Amicus steps out and grabs clean undergarments hanging from a hook, which he spends the next minute trying on.
I was gonna say, like, okay, like, although they're very cute, that is very inconvenient underwear. Because you have to, like, sash it around.
Wrap and everything?
Yeah. I was like, I'm surprised that with their advanced technology, they haven't just decided to just have, like, pull up, like, underwear like we all do.
Yeah.
They have this, like, weird little sash. Although, like I said, it's very cute. I'm not going to complain about it. I'm just saying, not convenient.
It might just be, I don't know, tradition or something. I think it's mostly just for the authenticity
Roman
of the
theme.
idea. Like, it's the thing that they would have had. Get it?
And also, it's
cute.
You got it,
maybe.
I think that's the other main reason.
All right, balls are gone. You can look now.
Yeah, we know he's not fixed.
Actually, do you even have those? I don't want to assume. I open the door and head back out. Guess you'll never know. Amicus spends another minute in the bathroom opening a door under the sink and rifling around in it. The next thing you're supposed to do is get the brush and oils from here. He lifts up a brush and a few glass bottles with colorful liquids inside before coming over to stand in front of me. He sighs. I know you don't want to, and I realize now that I'm repulsive to you, but I can't really reach every part of my coat, and it would be strange if I called for a drone when I have a pet. I think about making another moody remark, but the expression on his face makes me pause. I suppose I am being a little bratty right now. Besides, what else am I going to do while I'm here? Sit on the sofa all day? I get up and take the brush from Amicus and see a surprised smile on his face. Thank you, Marrow. He shows me how to apply one of the liquids, a honey-colored one, to the brush. It's a treatment for my fur. It keeps it soft and voluminous looking. Here, you just take the brush and run it with the lay of my fur. He hands the brush to me and then stands facing away. I start slowly and then run the brush through the fur between his ears and down his broad back, watching as the slightly disheveled hair lines up and lay down smoothly. It accentuates his shoulder blades and the thick and smooth muscles in his back. I'm hesitant at first, but I become more confident with each stroke. Actually, it's kind of relaxing. That is until I brush down the left side of his neck, which makes him gasp. I pull back quickly. Sorry, did I brush too hard? Amicus chuckles. No, that's just where you hit me earlier. Oh. I look closer and see that there is what looks like a lump under the fur.
Oh, you got him good.
I carefully brush around it and move to Amicus's front. Amicus, meanwhile, has his eyes closed with a smile on his face, clearly enjoying himself. I am sorry about that, by the way. I was really scared when I did it. Don't worry about it. I deserved it for tying you up so poorly. Amicus gives me a wink. I feel my face grow a little hot as I focus on getting the fur to lay just right on his biceps. And you know, you're not repulsive to me at all. I was just being a dick earlier. You look good. Well, I suppose I was too. I shouldn't have made fun of your sensibilities. All aliens have their own cultures, which are different, but that doesn't mean less valuable. Amicus's tone sounds weirdly rehearsed, like he's quoting something. And also, thank you, Marrow. I think you look good too.
I don't know if I believe him because his brother really thought we were ugly, I think.
But he's also a dick.
Yeah, but he was I don't know, he was pretty adamant about it.
He might just be returning the compliment, but it's nice to hear after what Cassia said.
Yeah, what if he's a dick?
But I definitely wasn't lying. And now that I'm this close to him, I have to admit that he is a little handsome. His face is expressive and kind of charming, and there's just a generally friendly air about him.
Yes, he's a little happy dog. Look at him. Makes perfect sense.
And
he's got a hot bod.
Then there's his body.
Yeah.
It's thick and masculine, just like a burly human, and I can't really deny that it's kind of appealing. Kind of.
He's like the brawny man on the paper towels.
I start to brush down the wolf's front, feeling his chest and stomach rise against the brush while he's breathing. I sculpt the lighter fur around his pecs to accentuate them better, since it seems like that's how he was keeping it earlier.
Just kind of swirled around the nip. I can picture this exactly.
I can't blame him. Then I move to his belly, moving the brush over its thick and slightly rounded form. The muscles are less defined here, but I can still sense the strength underneath it all. As I brush the lower part of his midsection, I notice the crotch of his loincloth bulging out rather far. All right, thank you, Marrow. That should be good.
Oh, I don't know. I think I need a brush there.
We haven't finished the job
yet.
We
haven't finished.
Yeah. I'm more of a completionist Katamari player. He takes the brush from my hands and turns away, leaving me with the strong suspicion that he's adjusting himself, though he covers it up by pretending to mess with the other bottle. Finally, he turns around looking flushed. Hold out your paws, please. I stick out my hands as he tips the bottle over, the liquid in this one having a purplish tint to it. Several drops fall into my hand. Immediately, my nose is filled with that lavender scent that I've been smelling off of Amicus ever since I first met him.
You guys have lavender here too? First crickets, now lavender? Wow, you guys got everything. It's just like home. Marble pillars, everything.
Mm-hmm. Rub them together, then just sort of pat up my body and underarms, along my neck as well. I can tell Amicus is still flustered, so I do it quickly, not wanting to linger and cause the wolf any other problems. Maybe it just feels really good to be brushed like that.
Maybe
yeah, that's why.
Maybe everyone else has a pet that they isn't. I mean, because obviously, like, Amicus is very anthropomorphic to us. Mm-hmm. But I imagine maybe everyone else has a pet that's like it's like a gas cloud, or like a like an amoeba or something that's completely not. Cloud. Well, I always think of Futurama had that joke where they had Miss Universe, and the one that won was like a gas cloud. They just put like a little sash over her and a crown. But I feel like everyone else maybe just has something that they don't relate to such an extent that they can't be physically attracted to them. But Amicus is obviously very similar to a person. Yeah. Which suits the purpose of this story. But I mean, Yeah,
we're not dating like a Tangela.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe everyone else has a Tangela, so they don't get their dick hard looking at a Tangela.
Marco's like, maybe it just really feels good to get brushed like that.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's definitely what's going on, Marco. It's you're definitely not brushing the guy that was like just sad you wouldn't shower with him.
I mean, honestly, I don't know, dude. There are some dogs that you scratch them just right. There's,
Well, dogs are a mess.
The dogs are a mess. They don't really think about that.
But Amicus is coded to have a dick that works like people's.
He has a lot of body parts that work like people's. So.
Yeah, well, because most animals don't even want to have sex, really.
Except for bonobos and dolphins.
Yeah.
And people.
It's us. We're from the exclusive crew.
The crew of three.
Yeah. Like, I feel like there was a word I wanted to use and it wasn't crew, but then I couldn't think of any of them anyway, and I'm just giving up. Just giving up. Is this like perfume? It's lavender lube. Just gonna go slip and slide later. Yes, it keeps the muskier scents hidden for the most part.
Yeah, so you should put it around there. Then.
I see. Do you use perfume? Well, I guess I do wear something like that on my underarms. Feel free to use it then.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
I decide not to tell him that lavender scents are mostly for women on Earth. Besides, it does smell nice. Once the perfume is done, Amicus moves on to getting dressed, showing me how to drape his cape over his shoulders. Alright, so I know you only have the pair of clothes you came with, so I'll have a tailor drone come up later today and see if we can't make you more pairs of what you have. Oh, okay. Now let's head to the dining room before we're late. Amicus pauses, frowning. Now, I know you won't like it, but you're going to have to feign some ignorance in front of the others. I raise an eyebrow. How so? Well, you're going to need to act a bit dumb. The antagonistic feelings that had been fading over the past few minutes started to rise up again. And how do I do that? Amicus shrugs. I don't know, give them vacant stares, incoherent mumbles, act like you can't grasp more complex matters. The whole point is to make it seem like you're a typical child. I don't like it, but I don't want to have anything to do with those aliens, so if it'll make them leave me alone... Alright. Amicus lets out a breath, clearly relieved. Thank you, Marco. This may not always have to be the case, but for now, we need to play on the safe side of things. Just let me do all of the talking. You got it. Great! Now let's hurry to the dining room. I don't want to make Kato more angry than he already is. So fucking...
He's optimistic.
That face. He's just so happy looking. And with that, I follow Amicus out into the hallway. I love the different time of day versions of these scenes.
And then
the transitions are cool.
Yeah, very cool. I like the light ray is really nice.
Yeah.
This is such a great room.
So who's Kato? The wolf you saw with my brother. He was my father's advisor and currently the acting emperor. I mentioned earlier that he'll be choosing between me and my brother. Okay, so that is established. The emperor's dead.
Oh.
Right, because that is the whole thing, is that we need the fuel for the ship, but the parents only give the ship that fuel to the emperor, and they haven't had any contact with this empire, I think, since the emperor died. And so they think that they need to like elect a new emperor in order to even gain their attention, which is why the plot is like we need Amicus to become emperor. So we have personal stakes in this alien politics mess.
Because we want to go home.
That's why I'm doing my best to keep him in a good mood, or at least not a bad mood. I don't think he has a good one. I keep in mind to stay on Kato's good side as well. Meanwhile, sunlight pours in through the open windows, and I can hear birds calling from outside again. Birds. What was that? I can hear birds. I'm just surprised they sound the same as they do on Earth. Ah, yes, you wouldn't know this. All life has the same origin and develops in a roughly similar way. It's only natural that life here is similar to your planet, I mean. Oh.
Way to make me feel less special.
Well, all life on this side of the universe, at least. There may be another, but we'll have to leave that conversation for later. For now... Would you like Space Channel? They've severely misinterpreted what 3D means. 3D means 3 screens in different directions. Surround sound, get it?
Yeah, you are surrounded.
Surround visuals. It's like VR, but bad.
It's also like a... Is this supposed to be like a TV, or is it supposed to be like... Is it a still image?
I wonder if those are real torches or not.
Well, in his room, he had
crystals.
little sconces that were like hanging dishes that had the bowl with like the oil lamp fire in them.
Yeah.
And I mean, they may like be made to look that way.
Just for funsies.
For funsies.
Maybe like a glowing crystal.
I mean, it doesn't look like fire to me, but...
Yeah. I mean, the roof's definitely just covered in a normal rows of lights.
Yeah.
So it'd be really weird to have fire.
I mean, but fire would be very cool, though. Yeah. I feel like if I was rich enough, I'd find ways to have fire everywhere.
This fucking room. I follow Amicus around a corner and find myself standing in a large, spacious room where we might finally meet some of the characters that Stephanie will voice. Please.
I'm so sorry, Keith.
The first things I noticed are the large screens on each wall of the room, displaying colorful images of stars, galaxies, and spaceships. In the middle of the room are what looks like beds surrounding a table. In those beds are 2 wolves I saw earlier. Kato is sitting and leaning over toward Cassius, who is draped luxuriously over one of the beds. Kato is talking to Cassius while the other wolf has his typical sour expression. Sitting on the floor in front of Cassius's bed is a creature that I've never seen before. There we go. It's definitely not a wolf, more feline-like. Yes,
I was gonna say definitely.
Cassius has his paw on his head, idly scratching it while he listens to whatever Kato is saying. He sees us and abruptly stops, sitting up. Kato stops talking and looks over at us. You're late. And good morning to you, Cass. And to you, Kato, Alexios. Amicus turns to Kato and the small cat creature, bowing to both of them. Good morning.
Morning, Amicus.
So he's like very cordial and professional and polite and customer servicey.
Oh, I can do that voice.
The cat, Alexios, nods to Amicus with a smile. At the same time, I see Cassius tug on the gold collar around his neck. No. It isn't very much, but Alexios immediately drops the smile from his face, looking down. How many times have I told you? Do I have to tell you not to acknowledge him, Amicus?
Oh, you're fucking mean, Cassius.
Amicus seems to ignore Cassius. walking to the empty bed while pulling me along with him. He whispers in my ear, "Sit in front like Alex is doing." I look over at the cat and see his ears perk up in our direction, though he continues to avoid looking at us. He's in a kneeling position, so I do the same, starting to feel a little uneasy about this whole setup.
It's definitely a power dynamic.
Yeah. Amicus, meanwhile, stretches out across the bed, an elbow in the cushions as he props himself up. "Calm, send in breakfast."
Yes, Gato.
A few seconds later, literal flying saucers levitate into the room from beyond another archway. I get a moment to see some sort of black device on the underside of the plates before they gently come to rest on the table. I blink but don't say anything, deciding to just take everything in without question. I decide instead to focus on the food. I can at least identify a few of the portions, one of them being what looks like bread. Then there's a plate of odd, white, crumbly substance, and next to that is a bowl of what I'm pretty sure is olives.
Oh, yes, olives. Hopefully it's cheese and olives and bread. Oh,
Yeah.
yes, please.
There's a glass bottle filled with some kind of red liquid, probably wine. Finally, in the middle, next to some towel-like napkins, is roasted poultry, golden colored and steaming. It actually smells really, really good, and considering that I haven't eaten any food in over a day, I feel my mouth water. Still, I have enough common sense to know that I probably can't just dig in, so I keep an eye on the cat, waiting to see what he does next. He grabs 4 small plates from the tall stack and sets them down in front of himself. Then he starts to grab some slices of bread, which he sets down on one of the plates. I look back at Amicus and nods. So I do the same, grabbing 4 plates and setting them in front of myself on the table, starting to grab the separate portions of food and set them on their own plate. Meanwhile, Cato just leans over to grab his own, while Cassius clears his throat. "So, Amicus, what is it?" I look up, and immediately find Cassius's eyes boring into mine. I quickly look back down and grab up the wood-handled knife that Alexios just set down, using it to spread some white stuff onto the slices of bread. I wrinkle my nose at how stinky it is and realize it's probably some type of cheese.
Yes. Yes.
"This is Marco. He's my pet." "No, Amicus, what is it? It's not one of our children. Does it belong to a sibling?" I'm half listening to the conversation while I see Alexios reach out with his bare paws and just pull a chunk of meat off the poultry. I hesitate, kind of wishing I'd had a chance to wash my hands, but do it anyway, wincing at how hot it is. The temptation is strong to just stuff it in my mouth, but I manage to set it down on the plate. Finally, I grab a bunch of olives and put them down on their own plate. At this point, I can see that Alexios is lining his plates up in front of Cassius on the bed. Carefully, I do the same for Amicus, though I lose an olive in the process. I watch it roll across the ground, but decide to ignore it, and Amicus just pats my head with a muttered, "Thank you." "No, he's from a failed uplift." I watch as Alexios starts filling a goblet with the red liquid, then look up when I realize there's complete silence. Even the music just stopped as I was saying that.
Tense.
Cassius and Cato are both staring at Amicus. I look back at him and see that he looks pretty calm, though I can see him picking at his claws. Are you serious?" "Yes." "Why? He's a barbarian." "Because I've decided the abandoned children deserve to re-establish regular contact. If we're to unite with the Chemians, then we also need to unite ourselves." I start filling Amicus's goblet as I feel his eyes on me. "Child or not, having a pet like this will show the Chemians my intentions."
Wow, what a dude, he's very clever.
He spun the whole thing.
The best thing you could ever do for yourself is having excuses made beforehand when you decide to do something wrong.
Yeah.
I do this all the time. And that's why I do so well at job stuff. Is I never get in trouble. I have a great reason to everything.
You pre-plan everything.
You have to learn how to speak to it, right?
Yeah.
This is like very.
Actually, here's why my mistake was a great idea.
It's like, you have to. He's giving us a chance. See, Amicus is so amicable. He's giving us a chance. He's trying to extend his hand in like a, he's trying to like unite us with everyone else. Like, yada. Like, what a politician. Like, he's fantastic.
It also makes you wonder how much he fucks up.
Oh, he's just used
to... If he has a specific talent for spinning his fuck-ups. Because he's spent this entire game so far fucking up.
Yeah, no, he must be... I mean, there's a reason that he's favored to be... like in charge of everything.
Yeah, unless
he must be charismatic.
Is he older? I'm trying to remember.
I mean, yeah, but Cassius comes off as like the one who's supposed to be more intelligent.
The infuriating one.
I mean, yeah, there's usually like kind of like the friendly, bigger brother, and then you have like kind of like the uptight, smaller but more intelligent brother. You have the Scar, and the Mufasa. Like, I feel like it's like that.
Hopefully not quite like that.
But yeah, I mean...
That story doesn't go great for Mufasa, spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers, guys.
Yeah, it turns out in Hamlet, you don't want to be Hamlet's dad. Or anyone else in Hamlet, actually.
Whose name that no one remembers.
Yeah, well, I've never seen Hamlet.
Well, no, he dies in like the first. He's already a ghost like immediately, so you don't really think about him. You just know Hamlet has a lot of on his shoulders as a result of his dad being dead. It's
really goofy, but I want to watch Hamlet not because of Hamlet, but because I then want to watch Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead.
I've seen that too.
Because it seems like a really cool movie, and I reference it sometimes just because I know what it is and stuff about it. But also, like, it's like the two lead actors are really good too. Like, that's a great cast.
I'm not a huge fan of Shakespeare in general, but I cannot deny how much passion those two individuals have for Shakespeare to be able to make something that is such a charming spin-off of Shakespeare. Like, you have to really be devoted, and I appreciate them immensely for that.
Which I think it was already a play. I think it's a movie adaptation of a play. So they had a whole play.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't realize that. I don't think I really knew that there was a movie adaptation.
Oh yeah, it's
I was talking about the play.
Yeah, it's a movie starring God. You know the police commissioner from the Dark Knight movies, and then he's like that one character actor that's in everything, but it's hard to recognize. He's the villain in Fifth Element.
No.
I can't think of his name. It's bad. And then it's like Mr. Pink from Reservoir Dogs.
You about
that actor?
Steve Buscemi?
No, the one.
No, Mr. Pink.
The one that's got a bullet in him.
He's
like a really good actor.
I don't remember his name right now.
Those two playing off each other, and they're great. And I'm like, I need to see the rest of the movie.
It's not Gene something, right? Fuck, dude.
The name that comes to mind is Eli Roth, and I don't think that's right either.
No, it's not. Comments are gonna roast me.
Anyway, Kemian intentions. Cassius scoffs loudly, popping an olive into his mouth and chewing it vigorously. Masterful stunt, Amicus, but you still stole Father's ship to get there. Using stretch tech without authorization from the Emperor is a violation of the law. Is it not, Cato? I hand the goblet to Amicus, silently wondering if the wolf is going to be thrown in jail my first day here. What would happen to me then? Still, Amicus looks calm. When he sees my wide eyes, he just winks. It could be, but there is no emperor, is there, Cassius?
I was just thinking that. I was like, who's to say?
Cato finally lays back, his small plates heaped high with food. He turns his head back to Amicus. Are you saying you piloted the ship to the outer reaches of our empire? Voice commands only work for the Emperor, if I'm not mistaken. That is correct. I learned to navigate the ship on my own. I was also able to communicate with their people, negotiate, and sign a contract with him. This is where I start to hear Amicus's voice falter. I actually do believe now that he doesn't lie often because it's clear that he's so bad at it. I copy Alexios and return to my kneeling position next to the bed, then switch to a cross-legged one when my knees get too sore. Cato watches from his bed silently, and I again feel unnerved at the feeling that he might be looking at me. Fascinating. Cassius curls his lips back. Fascinating. He used the stretch drive. He's going to get away with it because father is dead? What does that make all of the other laws? Can a beggar now steal from the market because there's no authority to tell him not to? Can a child rebel from the empire because there's no emperor to tell them? Quiet, Cassius. You know the circumstances as well as I do. Cassius snaps his mouth shut with a huff, turning his attention back to his food which he starts to pick at. The conversation seems to stop there, and I wonder if Amicus is in the clear. While Cassius sure seems indignant, I get the feeling that Amicus wasn't in any danger in the first place.
Look at that sad Cassius face. He's like thinking about his actions. He just got
sulking.
scolded. Yeah.
I mean, he just keeps running into Kato and be like, punish him, fix it. He can't do that. That's not fair. It's infuriating.
Well, I mean, I don't know. There are people who like try to follow the rules to a T, and there are people who can like find like wiggle room in the rules. And if you're charming enough, like it can come off as like the correct thing to do. Yeah. And Kato seems like he kind of rolls with that. He seems like a chill dude. He seems like the kind of boss that'd be like, well, if it's pragmatic enough, I can find a reason to like bend this law a little, you know? Because if it's for the benefit of everyone overall, then why wouldn't you bend it? As opposed to Cassius, who's very like rigid. And I think that like things don't work that way.
Although even Amicus pointed out that Cassius didn't care what Amicus did until they were competing. Yes. So it's more like the rules of their fight. And honestly, as opposed to being a stickler for the rules themselves.
If you're trying to like get like a promotion or like do well at anything, being like a narc makes you look really bad. Showing how good you can be as opposed to like bringing down other people. Like, bringing out other people makes you look childish. It never comes off good.
I guess being the Emperor's son has its perks. Could you get me some more of the Azure, Marco?
Which one's that?
Like, oh, fuck. Hey, the music's coming back. I look over the table for a moment in confusion. What's that? I try to keep my voice low, but that's when Cassius suddenly yowls, clapping a paw on his head. Oh, gods, it doesn't speak the language? I look between Cassius and Amicus in confusion. Of course not, they were abandoned. Most of the abandoned still speak the language. How far away is his home star? Roughly 50,000 light years. I don't care, don't have it speak again. The last thing I need is a headache from the lingua manually translating everything he says. It's barbaric. I don't know if he's calling the headache barbaric or me. Probably me. Upload its language to the Nexus before you let it out in public again, Amicus. I decide I really don't like Cassius. He's talking about me like I'm just a wait.
like.
Okay, I'm not crazy.
I'm
not crazy. There is a typo there. Okay. He's talking about me like I'm just a piece of property. Then I feel Amicus's paw on my shoulder, and for a moment, giving a soft squeeze before pulling back again.
He's reassuring us.
The conversation topic then shifts to stuff I don't really understand, mostly politics about the Chemians, whatever that is. Despite their fight earlier, Amicus and Cassius are pretty animated in their conversation. Amicus keeps sticking empty plates in my face, indicating that I should refill them. It's clear that I'm not going to be eating while the wolves are, and I feel my irritation grow. I'm not a servant, I didn't agree to this, and even if this is supposed to help me blend in, I can't help but feel Amicus could have put me in a better position than this. Virginia sent me a letter last night saying that she'd be bringing back a Chemian tomorrow. He got trapped here after the stretch drive depletion. Oh? He wasn't able to return on the retrieval ship. He was on Anchorus at the time, so it took him several months to get back to Adastra. He's going to be our guest until the next ship arrives. I think it'll be quite interesting to see one in person who can say that they've met two siblings. Cassius reaches down and starts stroking Alexios' head fur. The green and gray cat closes his eyes, smiling and purring. I watch this for a moment, then freeze as I feel Amicus' paw on my head. He starts to gently scratch his blunt claws into my scalp, ruffling my hair around. It actually feels really good, but knowing what he's doing gets me pissed off all over again. He already knows I don't want to be doing this. Then he brought me here against my own will. He brought me here against my own will. Now he's stroking me in public like I'm actually his pet.
I like how they had to emphasize that his claws are blunt, so it doesn't.
Yeah.
It is not like implying that he's like digging his claws into you painfully.
They're like shitty dog claws.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it makes sense. I guess he's doing his part to help me blend in, just like I'm doing mine. But that doesn't mean I don't hate it. And then his other paw sticks his empty goblet down under my nose. More wine, please. I let the goblet hang in the air for a moment, then take it and reach robotically for the next heavy wine bottle, getting up on my knees to better pour it into the empty goblet. I fill it up as Amicus continues to stroke me. I'll bet even fewer can say they've met an abandoned species, wouldn't you think? Cassius glares at Amicus, and I glare at the wine. I try to remind myself that this is just to help me get home. Or maybe he actually is just showing me off because he likes how he's getting under Cassius's fur. I turn on my knees to face the wolf and hand back his goblet, noticing how full it is, the wine almost sloshing over the rim. Amicus reaches out for the goblet. My fingers twitch, and then I feel the goblet slip out of my hand, watching as it seems to fall in slow motion onto the side of the bed. The wine shoots out in a red gush, splashing across Amicus's lighter furred front. There goes the music. The wolf gasps, sitting up suddenly as the wine pours down his chest and stomach onto his pants. Damn. Meanwhile, Cassius bursts out laughing behind me, snorting obnoxiously. Maybe there's a reason so few have ventured out to meet them, Amicus.
Fuck you.
I see Alex staring at me, but when I meet his eyes, when I meet eyes with him, he looks down. Amicus reaches over to one of the towels, glancing down at me as he does. I try to keep myself from smirking, but I think I fail. He pauses, staring at me in astonishment, as I guess he realizes that I did it on purpose. He doesn't look angry, though, and instead grabs up the towel and starts patting down his front, the fur still stained a dark maroon color. What are you doing, Amicus? Cassius has finished his laughing, and I look over to see him staring at us. What do you mean, what am I doing? I'm cleaning up the mess. Amicus growls at Cassius, continuing to pat himself down. Dear gods, you really don't know how to do this. Punish it. Cassius lazily flops his paw in the air in a slapping motion. I snap my gaze to Amicus, glaring again. What? No, I can't do that. Why not? It's in the contract. No physical punishments, just like Alexios's. What? You heard me. Alexios is a sibling. It's barely even a child. He is mine and none of your business. Punishment is the only way to teach the lesser species, Amicus. He looks at me. You, creature, up. I'll hit you instead. Cassius. I jump. So does Cassius, ears ringing as Amicus's deep voice bellows over me. Meanwhile, Kato just lounges on his bed, listening. Or maybe not. I'll make this very clear right now. You are never to lay a paw on him, or give him orders of any kind. Cassius, having recovered, raises an eyebrow at Amicus. And if I do, brother? Amicus's fur starts to lay flat on his shoulders again as he shrugs. I'll punch you. You can't do that. We're not pups anymore. And if you call him it again, I'll do the same. Cassius seems to choke for a moment. What in the world has gotten into you, Amicus? He looks at the older wolf. Kato! Yes, Cassius. Well, do something. He can't threaten me like that. Amicus, be nice to your brother.
it's like a tired mom. Oh yeah, just like be nice to each other. Here's a fruit stack.
I'm happy there's a bunch of characters to talk to each other now, because the dialogue's a lot of fun. Cassius's ears turn bright red and he slumps on the bed, glaring at his remaining food. Anyway, if you two are finished, then be off to your studies. Anyway, if you two are finished, then be off to your studies. Don't be late this time, Amicus. Your tutor complained again last week. That's today? You know, you should take care to start paying more attention. Even seeing what you accomplished, I'm starting to lean toward trials and making my decision. The room suddenly grows very quiet. And Cassius, I need to speak with you for a moment before you leave. Amicus gets to his feet, and I do the same. The wolf glances at Cassius and Cato, but they're deep in conversation. He turns back to me. I forgot that it's my study day, so I'll be gone for a little while. I'm going to ask Alexios to show you around and give you something to do while I'm away. I feel myself grow tense at the idea of being without the only person that I know around here. Seriously? Listen, you don't have to do anything. I'll make that clear to everyone, but I feel you might rather have something to do rather than sit in my room all day. He seems to think that it's chores that I'm upset about rather than him leaving me alone. All right. Amicus frowns at me and I can't help but feel a little bad. He does seem to be trying to make things as easy as possible for me. And sorry. I gesture at his still stained front. Don't worry. Yes, wine isn't easy to get out of fur, but I know why you did it, and I deserved it. Ugh. Is it... He's speaking his language again. Shut up, Cassius. What? Alexios. Amicus gestures at the small cat who is currently stacking the dirty dishes on top of each other. Could you please show Marco around the palace along with the tasks and activities you do? He's unfamiliar with nearly everything.
I would be happy to, Amicus.
So you can order my pet around. Cato, standing over by the doorway and clearly eager to leave, sighs. Enough. Try to be reasonable, Cassius. Now both of you be off to your studies, and a quick shower for you, Amicus. Amicus grumbles and starts to turn away, then turns back to me, resting upon my shoulder. I'll be back toward the evening. The big wolf pauses as if wanting to say more, but leaves me with a simple, I'll see you then. And with that, he gives me a little wave and another wink before following Cassius and Cato through the archway, leaving us alone with a character that Stephanie voices.
Finally for you.
Just as Amicus leaves, Cassius pauses to give me a sour look. Then again, most of his expressions are pretty sour, but it still makes me uncomfortable. Then I'm left alone with the cat.